Hey everyone, welcome to Blade Show Week. Even though the show itself got canceled, that doesn't mean we don't get to see some cool new products and hang out with our friends from all the biggest companies out there. And today, we've got my friend Troy from Benchmade. Troy, how you doing, sir?
I am well, sir. How are you?
Doing fine over here. We were talking a little bit before the camera started rolling. It's hot out there today for both of us, but it'd probably be even hotter in Atlanta next weekend.
Yeah. Atlanta would be an absolute cooker if we were down there. So, as sad as I am to not be at Blade Show for the first time in a very long time, kind of nice skipping out on the humidity.
Well, and I think since the show's canceled, the streak's not broken. They didn't have it, so it's not our fault. We're still good. We still
Total.
still have our record to maintain.
Yep, I like it, man. I like that. I like that thought
Yeah.
process there.
Well, anyway, you guys were good enough to send us a few samples here of some of the new stuff that's just starting to make it out to dealers and was just only recently unveiled. Let's show the people watching what we've got in front of us here. Take it away, sir.
Yeah, we're super excited. The hunt line is something that's near and dear to my heart, as we've spoken before. I spend probably more time than I care to admit in the woods, so it's been an awesome process updating this line to what it is now. Our hunt line has been official since 2014, I believe. And we had some subset kind of brands and stuff like that prior to just going full blown inline Benchmade hunt. So we've been doing this for a long time, but now we've really seen these knives take shape over time, and now this is the latest and greatest of our learnings over the past 30 years. So first and foremost, we've got the 15002 Saddle Mountain Skinner. So this is really a traditional fixed blade. This is a drop point profile on this particular knife, and it's clean, it's simple, it's straightforward. S30V blade steel with a stabilized wood handle. And like we talked earlier, the Saddle Mountain is a knife that's been in our arsenal or our stable here for a couple years, but we've been listening to people in the field. We both consumers and experts, people that we partner with, and people that we know and value their time in the field. So these guys are spending a whole bunch of time out there putting our product through the ringer. And over the years, they develop feedback. So we've been listening to that feedback, and that's really culminated in everything that we're about to talk about here. So first and foremost, the sheaths are changed. The sheaths are updated. They're a thicker leather. They're almost, they're essentially molded to the shape of the knife itself.
So they really do almost click in just a little bit.
Without going to some composite like Voltron or Kydex or anything like that, this is about as tight a fit as you'll get with leather. And so I'm very excited about it. This is a single contiguous loop of leather, so no failure points whatsoever. The stitching's been beefed up here, and then these rivets are just as secure as they were before. You do have the additional buckle, so if you are running this knife on a belt, things start getting a little Western, you don't need to worry about that knife popping out of the sheath on you as you're moving.
A little Western, I like that.
A little Western. So sheath's a big improvement. On the knife itself, what we've done, I'm not sure what we call these. It's almost jimping for the spine of the handle.
I've always referred to that as kind of the crenellations is the word I've been using.
I like it. Crenellations. We'll go with that. So previously, they were essentially 90-degree angles.
Yep.
Recesses and kind of pronounced points along the top. And what we found was those 90-degree angles would harbor material, whether it's fat, gristle, hide, whatever you're working on. When you do have an animal in front of you, they were getting gunked up in there. And so it was tough to clean out. We've smoothened those transitions out and almost made it wave-like so that you can just as easily with your thumb or a Q-tip or whatever you want, clean that guy out and keep it from harboring anything that you don't want stored or you don't want building up on that knife while it's stored in a pack or a sheath.
Sure.
Or your gear room.
And also gentler, more gentle on your hands as well.
Exactly. When you're especially with big game, when you're working up an animal, you're there for an hour, 2 hours. You're spending a lot of time with the knife in your hand. And so small tweaks to those ergonomics will go a long ways in terms of reducing hot spots and those points of contact that tend to wear on your palm. Tying into that same thought process, we've knocked down the back end here over the lanyard hole so that you're not feeling that tight hot spot button up into the palm of your hand as you're putting pressure on this knife, working up a critter. So 2 super small changes there that go a long way, plain and simple. Staying on that same vein of ergonomics, we've adjusted the jimping on the actual spine of the blade here. So we've kind of bounced this forward jimping back a little bit so that you have phenomenal purchasing control, whether you're using more of a surgical pinch grip, running that index finger out towards the tip of the blade, or whether you're running a traditional grip with your thumb pressed out for control there.
It used to be a little more kind of up in this area, wasn't it?
Yep, and so you're stretching on a longer blade. I think Saddle Mountains are just over 4 inches on just the blade length. So that can be a little bit long for people to reach out for when they're trying to gain that control and precision in their cut. So small adjustments there, again, going a long ways. We're really just trying to dial this thing into the hunter and what their needs are. So small jimping changes there. The old Saddle Mountain had a recurve almost in the belly of the blade itself, and recurves used to serve a much greater purpose than they do now, in my personal opinion. Steel is so darn good. We don't need to worry about deviating that line or that cutting edge to increase surface area for edge retention. You're essentially spreading the load of abrasion with a recurve. Mm-hmm. You don't need to do that anymore. So we flatten that guy out, and that helps guys sharpen a little bit easier in the field. With those recurves, it can be a little bit difficult to maintain that profile if you've got something as simple as I just pack around like a ceramic rod and leather strop built into that work sharp kind of field sharpener. Sure. So makes it a lot easier for guys like myself that are not sharpening wizards to hone or bring back throughout the process of skinning an animal. So it's a lot of info on the first knife there, but Saddle Mountain Skinner, awesome, traditional, modern fixed blade.
Well, and the thing I think I like most about these newer versions is thinner steel as well.
Yeah. So what we saw with like the Altitude, for example, the 15200 was a thin blade stock. Now that knife has S90V, but for these precision cutting tasks, especially where the majority of your cuts are push cuts or plunge cuts, that thinner blade stock helps that material just glide through your medium that much easier. It also really brings out the benefits or strengths of CPM steels like S30 or S90 and really allows them to shine in that arena as a high edge retention performance stainless steel.
Well, I'm definitely a big fan of that, just for all around. Just you've got better cutting geometry, not just on those plunge cuts and push cuts like you talked about, but any kind of food prep. If you are going to do any butchery with this knife, or even if you're just breaking down boxes, I mean, I think that's a great switch to make, especially given as good as modern steels happen to be these days.
Totally. I couldn't agree more. So staying on the Saddle Mountain train, what we've done is we've started to essentially stratify these knives. Our whole product line was very linear up until now, and you really only had a couple options and then this huge spike up to like the Altitude per se. So now what we've done is we've kind of structured this product line to really dial in the right price point for the hunter and the right performance level for the hunter themselves. A guy like myself, I'm spending upwards of 100 plus days in the woods every year hunting. Some people are just out there for a couple weekends here and there and don't need to spend the money on something like S90 or your more expensive kind of higher end designs. They're more premium designs, I should say, and could use something very simple like the wood Saddle Mountain Skinner, and that'll check all your boxes. That'll do it all for you just fine. If you're out there a lot, you're looking for edge retention, you're looking for just high-end performance, the new 15002-1 Saddle Mountain Skinner is just that for you. So we took what we learned on the Altitude, went with S90V on the blade steel itself, And we've actually introduced a new handle material to the hunt line called Richlight. This is essentially a resin-infused paper byproduct.
Yeah,
So
very
it's super
similar to
sustainable.
paper micarta in the way it feels.
Totally, totally. It still maintains that traditional kind of wood grain aesthetic. So this doesn't look like a spaceship knife by any means. And you've got a nice, classy base layer accent of high visibility orange G10 underneath that Richlight. So I absolutely love the aesthetic of this knife. But more than that, the performance itself is just unbelievable. So same ergonomic changes there. It's going to be the same feel as the previous saddle mount we talked about with the added material benefits here. One thing to call out on the premium saddle mount and Skinner, and then the premium hidden canyon hunter, which we'll get to later, is our new select edge sharpening technology. So this is a 14-degree per side, 28-degree included angle. This is a finer, smoother edge than our standard factory edge. And this was really developed to embellish push cut performance, like we were talking about earlier. And that's the majority of the cutting that you're going to be doing when you are using these knives as intended for working up a critter. So that is the knife itself. Big call out on the sheath. So we took a page out of the Altitude book again and went with a slim Bolteron high visibility orange, black backside, click lock sheath. That's got a flared opening here, so it's super easy to find that opening with the tip of the knife when it's dark or you're tired, it's been a long day, whatever's going on. It's going to be easy for you to get that knife back in the sheath and store this in a secured manner. Not necessarily one that we intend for people to run on the belt too much. Obviously, we've left you the option to do so and create your own fixturing with the open rivets if you so choose. A guy like myself, I've got this thing sitting in my backpack until it's ready to get to work. So it's not on a belt. It's not anywhere external for me. This guy is purely put away in the kill kit.
Now, I have noticed that for those of you folks out there who do want to run it on your belt, I know a large tech lock matches up with the whole pattern perfectly. And of course, you've got those slots there, so a small will work, as well as all kinds of other different aftermarket stuff, but nothing in the box included for belt attachment, right when you purchase it.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So Select Edge, Richlight, S90V, that's really what's going to make that premium, and the sheath itself, I forgot, is what's really going to make those premium variations of these traditional knives shine.
Well, and I love that Richlight material. I've used it on a few knives myself. I love the contouring on this design. It's not so much a hand-filling grip like a bushcrafter may be looking for, but it's very comfortable and it's very agile when moving this blade around. You can really just work with it rather than against it. That's
the intention. You've like, as a hunt product, we assume that this knife is the punctuation mark on a successful hunt. You're not pulling this thing out and letting it get super dirty until you've been successful, really. And so you've got a lot going on up until that point. A lot of people are tired. Like I said earlier, it's dark, things are slippery. We never want you to fight that knife. That's a dangerous scenario, no matter which way you break that down. And so ergonomics, comfort, control, precision, performance are really what we were after in the redesign and elevation of this new hunt product.
Excellent.
So, another saddle mount, and I know everyone's probably sick of them by now, but we can just touch on this one super briefly. Very similar to the first saddle mount we looked at. This is the 15004. Your only option is a stabilized wood handle with an S30V blade. The only difference being the actual gut hook here as opposed to a traditional drop point. So I know east of the Mississippi, a lot of whitetail guys love running gut hooks on their blades, and that's exactly what we wanted to do with this guy here. It was a popular knife in the past, so same update on the recurve delete and same ergonomic changes, just an all-around straightforward gut hook fixed blade.
Excellent.
So going a little bit smaller, actually this guy, let's put this guy in the interim. This is a personal favorite of mine, the Steep Country, 15006. So I personally feel as though this is one of the most versatile hunt fixed blades that we have. And whenever I'm recommending a knife to somebody that's either just getting into hunting or they're an expert, full blown addict, and they're doing it all year long, I know that I can recommend this knife and that it's going to perform for them. So, same updated sheath design that we saw on the premium Saddle Mountain Skinner, flared opening, Bolteron, high vis, and a couple different mounting options if you don't want to just let this thing sit in the pack. But again, hammering down on ergonomics. So we updated the handle texture on that Santoprene handle from the previous variation. We rounded out those, what do you call them, crenulations?
Crenellations?
Crenellations.
Like the top of the castle, the little...
I'm going to add that, yeah, I'm going to add that one to the dictionary or the personal thesaurus. So knocked down the back end over the lanyard hole. Nice high flat ground on this blade. This thing's just super versatile. 365 days a year. You don't have to hunt to make use of this knife. Just a great stout little fixed blade. Ergonomics have always been a strong suit of the steep country, given that soft, kind of grippy Santoprene handle. You can see mine's a little bit dirty. I've been using it this past bear season. So he's been seeing some action, and I couldn't be happier with this knife.
Well, it's a great little size. That kind of sub 4-inch blade is very easy to control for all sorts of things. And again, thinner steel this time around and a full flat grind as opposed to the high flat of before. So again, just the slicing geometry of this is just that much better.
Yep, couldn't agree more. So this is one that my wife will have at camp and stuff like that, just hanging out with friends, slicing vegetables on the tailgate of the truck before we throw them on the grill or the fire. And I have to like steal this thing back from her pretty regularly. That's why I leave mine dirty, because then she's not as prone to take it and keep it and use it for food prep and stuff like that. But yeah, just an awesome little versatile fixed blade there. I love it.
Yeah, I'm excited for these to come out too, because it's been a sort of a favorite recommendation of mine as well. But you actually sent us one of the R&D knives right here, so I feel kind of privileged to be holding this right now.
yeah, that's a great segue. Actually, everything that we're talking about here is currently available, with the exception of the steep country. The steep country is going to be a little bit later in the fall, so stay tuned. Your dealers, KnifeCenter, will be making announcements. Check our website, whatever works for you. We will be very vocal when this knife is ready, and I'll play a big part in that, just because I love this knife so damn much. Next up, so now we'll shrink it down a little bit. Now we're going to go to the Hidden Canyon Hunter. So again, this is a pre-existing model that we've revamped. We updated the same sheath design that we saw on the Saddle Mountain Skinner earlier. This guy is like just over 2 inches, just shy of 2.5. Great little processing knife here. So this one's one that's popular with a lot of people that just like to EDC a fixed blade. This isn't one that has to live in the field 24/7. But knock down those, the spine of the handle here, knock down the lanyard hole, kind of reposition the jimping. And a big thing for the hunt guys on the previous version was this finger guard. It used to be a lot more pronounced. And so as you're skinning an animal, there's a stringy, cobwebby kind of fascia that attaches that skin to the meat itself. And this would actually get caught up on that fascia or even the hide quite frequently. And when your hands are slippery, it runs the risk of pulling that knife forward out of your hand. So with rounding out that little finger guard, you still maintain the same security and safety, but it's not as pronounced to the point that it's going to start to catch on you and want to rip that knife out of your hand.
That's actually one of the first things I noticed when pulling this out of the box was that, and I assumed it was for exactly that reason. Just,
yep.
More aerodynamic or hydrodynamic, I guess. We're talking, animal liquids.
High speed, low drag, man. So this is a great little knife. Again, like I said, super popular with the EDC guys. I love having this knife in my pack. It's very similar to the Altitude. If you're like thinking about a knife like the Altitude, but you don't like the minimalist skeletonized handle structure of it, this is going to be a great option for you.
And again, thinner steel, better slicing.
Yep, totally.
Love
So S30 stabilized wood, and then we also have the premium variation of it, just like the new saddle, S90 Rich Light with the high vis orange G10 base layer on the handle there. So really cool looking knife here. I think this one's going to be a big hit with the EDC guys. And unlike the previous Hidden Canyons, you can see that we have strayed away from the Scout carry leather and Kydex sheath options here. Previously, these guys used to run the opposite direction. So we have switched that up, and then on the premium variation, you're just going to get that slim, low pro, flared opening Bolteron sheath that we've talked about a couple times.
Which,
now.
of course,
So,
they could still go Scout if they throw a Tech Lock or something on there. Yeah.
You got it, spot on. So that's the Hidden Canyon.
Is that a thinner edge geometry on this one as well, like the Big Brother?
Little bit thinner. I don't think it's distinguishable or much to mention, but yes, this guy, just to kind of play to those strengths of S90, I think that you really see the benefit of edge retention when S90s run on a thinner blade stock in general. So,
but it's not quite the 14 degrees per side as the larger one.
It is.
Oh,
so
it is.
Both,
okay. Yeah.
Yep. So both of the premium variations here, Saddle Mountain, Hidden Canyon, are going to have that select edge 14-degree sharpening technology on
Very
them.
cool.
So, yeah, awesome stuff. I remember testing this guy before we had done the select edge, and it just, with S90, the S30 was great on the standard Hidden Canyon. The S90, I didn't feel like I was getting the full benefit of that edge retention, and swapping over to that select edge and keeping the same geometry and blade thickness aside from that actual sharpened angle really started to magnify what it is you're looking for in a steel like S90.
Sure. Now, is that something we may see in the future with some of the S90 folders in the Benchmade lineup, maybe? I don't know if that's something you could answer right now, but...
Yeah, anything's possible. Obviously, we're taking this time to vet stuff out and make sure we cross our T's and dot our I's. I wouldn't rule it out by any means, but there is nothing definitive down the pipe right now as to new applications for that select edge.
All right, cool.
So
I think we have one more surprise on the table, though, too, right?
Little bonus, yeah. We're gonna take a hard turn right now and go the complete opposite direction of field to table or the hunt vibe in general. We have a new limited Infidel. So this is the 3300 BK-2001. Really what we did is we wanted to hammer out an awesome tone or hue of Benchmade blue on the anodization. So similar to the 10th anniversary Infidel, we have an S30V blade and just a variance in anodization on the handle there. No other ergonomic call outs or changes to make note of, just a straightforward OTS.
And if you've been looking for that steel upgrade from the D2 of the standard, you've got that here. And it's an Infidel. It's awesome. Of course it is.
It's an interesting color. I absolutely love this color. When I was looking at this stuff on computers before we had brought them to life, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is the blue really gonna do it for me? And now that I've had a chance to put this thing in my hands and look at it under normal daylight, it's a pretty impressive blue that I think complements the black accents very nicely.
Yeah, it does have a sheen.
Too much.
Yeah, it does have a sheen to it that is going to be hard to communicate across on the TV or the computer screen or a phone. You know, so the folks watching this video at home or looking at pictures on the website, just know that it's a little bit more than what you're seeing. There's a little bit more to it than that. I just wish everyone could see these in person because. Yeah, that's you know how it is. That's the difficulty in selling things on the internet that you and I have to deal with every day.
Yep, definitely. It's tough. You go through so much photography and so much time spent behind the computer just to make sure something as simple as a color tone is correct, so that it's represented accurately to those that are shopping online, which is the majority of us nowadays.
Yep,
So
it really is. All right,
yeah,
well,
it's a fun game.
I've got one more question for you.
Okay.
So this is something you get to talk about yourself a little bit. For the folks out there who maybe have never tried a Benchmade knife before, why should they try a Benchmade, and what makes what you guys do special?
That's a great question. So we are very proud of the fact that we are an all-American manufacturer. We're based out of Oregon, and all of our components, our materials, our labor, our people, everything is American made. And we truly stand behind our product in terms of our warranty and our free lifetime sharpening service. And so we understand that our knives are expensive, and we really try to provide a product and service that reflect that cost. I think you'd be hard pressed to find bad experiences with our customer service and how far we're willing to go for the consumer. But it's guys like myself, when it comes to hunt product, I'm out there using this stuff because it's my passion. I love being in the field. It's not something that's required as a part of my job. I'm an end user at the end of the day, and I think a lot of our business is built up of those end users. So we truly understand what it is that people are looking for, and as much as people might think that manufacturers don't listen or just ignore feedback, I can assure you that we do listen to that kind of stuff, and we take it very seriously, as evidenced by this current hunt collection. A lot of these changes came as the result of feedback. So aside from going like full-blown crowdsourced designs, I think this is as close as you get for a manufacturer, and we're proud to maintain that relationship and to help cultivate that relationship. So premium products, premium people, premium services, that's kind of the name of the game for Benchmade.
Sounds good to me. All right, guys, for those of you watching out there, thanks for sticking around. If you want to see more about these knives, or maybe get a pre-order in or order, we will leave links in the description. It'll take you over to KnifeCenter.com. Troy, thanks for taking part in our Blade Show week here. I think we had a blast. We've got more videos going up, so those of you at home watching, be sure to check out all the rest in this really cool series.
Yeah, appreciate the opportunity. Hope everybody stays safe and find some time to enjoy themselves in light of Blade.
Indeed. Thanks, Troy. I'll see you soon. Maybe at SHOT Show.
Sounds good. Take it easy, guys.
All right, later.